Hello everyone, welcome back to this episode of CJ Discusses. Today we're discussing Survivor Season 47, Episode 5. And we open with Lavo coming back to camp, and Teeny's kind of blindsided with what happened at the votes the night before. She had no idea what was going on and had no idea that Keyshawn was actually going to be the one voted out. She actually was left out of the votes for a couple different reasons. One, she didn't have a vote to begin with, and two, they just didn't see the need to have her involved in anything. So now she's kind of feeling on the bottom, and Romeo's trying to explain the decisions, but she can't help shake the feeling that she is in trouble if Lavo's the next one to lose. Meanwhile, Genevieve's feeling like the mastermind of this whole thing, since she's the one that basically went and told Romeo what the plan was, that they were planning on getting him out, that she was able to go ahead and turn the tides around and go ahead and get Keyshawn out, who she thought was a bigger threat. Honestly, I would get Romeo out because he's just so chaotic and all over the place, but that was the dice that she rolled. She figured that Romeo was a better horse to back, and they went after Keyshawn and were able to successfully get him out. Next, we go to what turns out to be the next reward challenge, and we see that it is a pretty big obstacle course, and we haven't seen one this big in quite a while. But the difference here is that there's only yellow and blue lanes. There's no red lane, so are we merging at this point? Like, what's going on? It seems kind of early for a merge, but Jeff tells us, nope, we're doing something different. Brand new twist that they've done this early in the game. And what they're going to do is have everybody draw for teams and combine everybody for just this event only into a yellow and a blue team. We go ahead and execute the draw, and we see that it's actually pretty evenly split. We got members from all teams or all tribes on both teams, and it's actually a pretty evenly matched event. The first thing that they need to do is go ahead and go through a series of crawling underneath some obstacles in order to get keys to go ahead and unlock a ladder. Once they get the ladder, they then have to work it through a maze in order to get it free, and they take it over to a post where there are 5 bags that are hanging. Inside these bags are balls, essentially basketballs, that they will then have to shoot into 5 hoops, only 1 ball per hoop. So they go ahead, they start going, and we see that, it's pretty evenly matched all the way up until we get to the ladder maze, where the yellow team is just able to go ahead and negotiate that much faster. They are through the grabbing the bags before the blue team is even done with the ladder maze, and they're off to throw in their hoops. They go ahead and get a 2-0 lead when the blue team goes ahead and pulls up to the basketball shooting competition and is able pretty quickly to go ahead and get 2 balls into their nets. Once it gets all evened up, though, it's pretty quick work at that point for the yellow team. They're able to go ahead and get their last 3 balls in, and they go ahead and win their reward. The reward for this is actually pretty nice. They get to go on a Survivor social hour, where it's essentially a barbecue. They're going to go to the sanctuary where everybody's going to get a hot dog. They do have veggie dogs there for the vegetarians in the group, and they get to play some cornhole, but more importantly, they get to talk to one another and find out how things have been going in their tribes. Everybody's pretty happy at the social hour. Everybody's talking. Some people are talking a little bit too much. Teeny basically tells everybody what's been going on back at her camp, but more importantly, Tiana just airs it all out about what's been going on over at the Taku tribe, especially in regards to Gabe, who she says is probably out right now since he's the only one left back there out idol hunting, that he's already played an idol that they didn't even know that he had. So she's basically ruining his game before they even get to the merge at this point, because now everybody is suspicious of him. Meanwhile, back at the Lavo camp, Rome is just kind of spiraling at this point. He's not sure what's going on. He's talking to Saul, and he's really trying to talk Saul into go ahead and getting Teeny out of the game. He's hyping up all the things that Teeny can't do for them, and that their best bet is to go ahead and get her out. Romeo then goes over and talks to Genevieve and tells Genevieve that it's Saul's plan to go ahead and get Teeny out, and that he's been talking all this trash about Teeny. Then Genevieve goes and talks to Saul and finds out that it was all Romeo's idea, and that Romeo's been talking all kinds of trash about Genevieve to Saul about how she doesn't want to work with him and all kinds of things. So now Genevieve is just like, dude, this guy is crazy, and he probably needs to go. And I really feel like they're setting up this whole episode for another Lavu loss, because there's just a lot of time focused on the tribe dynamics at Lavu. When Teeny gets back to camp, Genevieve and Saul fill her in on how chaotic Rome has been, and they're starting to formulate a plan on how they can get Rome out of the game at this point. They know he probably needs to be the next one to go if they have to go to tribal council. Meanwhile, over at Taku, Gabe finds out that Tiana's been talking smack about him, and he is not happy about it at all. Rachel tells Tiana that she should probably go up and apologize to him, and she does, but she also tells a lie that she only told 2 people instead of everybody that was sitting there. So now Gabe is very suspicious of Tiana and basically has her marked for death at this point. Next, we go to the immunity challenge, and it starts off weird because the Gada tribe has brought their chickens to the challenge. We find out that they are over the chickens. They don't want them anymore. Their whole thought process was that they'll keep the chickens alive and be able to get eggs out of them every day and just be, living high off the hog on eggs. When reality is they haven't really gotten any eggs. They've gotten one. They did lay 2 others, but they broke before they even, as they hit the ground, essentially. Jeff asks them why they haven't killed them and eaten them, and they really don't have a good answer for that, other than they say that they're just not going to do that. I mean, freaking kill the chickens, man. But regardless, they ask for a negotiation, and they start off asking for 24 eggs for the 3 chickens. Just like, nah, man, I'll give you 15 eggs for the 3 chickens. And they end up meeting in the middle, and they negotiate 18 eggs for return of the 3 chickens. From there, we go into the immunity challenge, and we see that it's another epic endurance challenge. It starts with them having to drag a bag of coconuts that also have, bean bags in them, a distance where they will then pick up a saw and cut down more coconuts and bean bags, which they have to stuff into their sack, making it that much heavier. From there, they have to drag it another distance and add more coconuts to it. And then finally, they'll get to their puzzle, which they then have to they have to separate the coconuts and the bean bags and go ahead and knock all the puzzle pieces off of their table. Once they've knocked all the puzzle pieces off their table, then they have to reassemble the puzzle. So this really isn't looking too good for the Lavu tribe based on their last experience with a puzzle. The challenge begins, and it's pretty even going to the first obstacle. Everybody gets to the sawing of the bag at the same time, but Andy is using the wrong edge of the saw, and even when he gets a flip star around, he just can't seem to get through it. Both Taku and Lavo are able to get to the puzzle table to start throwing the beanbags at their puzzle pieces pretty quickly, and it's relatively evenly matched. Gatu finally catches up and gets to the table, and they are actually pretty quick on getting getting their pieces down. As everybody goes to the puzzle reassembly, Taku just kills it and goes ahead and wins the immunity challenge for the week. They come in first place. So now we have a race to the bottom for both Lavu and Gata. And Gatu just can't seem to get it together, and they end up losing the immunity challenge this week, so they're going to tribal. As we get ready for tribal council, in my mind, you'll only really have 3 options. You got Andy, who is not a social or physical threat at all in the game. He's bringing nothing to the table and really is just a liability. The only thing he's really doing is being a good shield for Sam. Sam and Sierra are other 2 options. Everybody thinks that they're either hooking up, doing a showmance, or that they are just running the tribe. Even from the outside perspective, it was brought up at the social that those 2 are basically running the tribe, which Sam tried to deny. Sierra wants to try to get Andy out of the game, but Sam wants to keep Andy around, like I said, because he's a good shield for him, and Sam wants to get Annika out because he sees her as a big threat. Sam and Sierra are just going back and forth on the merits on both of them. And we know that Sam also has a idol that he has to use. It expires after this tribal council. So does he use it and on himself and, surprise Andy and then kind of burn trust in Andy? Or does he use it on Andy maybe to try to save him? Not really sure. And really there's no decisions that are really shown outright as we go to tribal council. As tribal council begins, Jeff asks about how the social hour was, and we just do a rehash of that. Really, nothing is given during the course of the social of the tribal council, other than the fact that Annika is feeling pretty good about her position in the game, which never bodes well for the person that feels like they feel good. We go to the votes, and we see that both Annika and Andy get a vote, and then Annika gets a second vote, and ultimately gets the third vote, and she is just stunned. She cannot, I haven't seen a reaction like this on Survivor in quite a while. Most people know that they're going home. She had no idea. They pulled off a great blindside on her, and she's just speechless at this point. Takes her a couple seconds to get her wits about her. She goes ahead and stands up, wants to know who did it. And Sam takes ownership of it, but both Sierra and Andy raise their hands. And she just doesn't even want to talk. She just kind of wants to get off stage. And as she is doing the walk of shame, she's crying. So it's going to make it extra spicy when they go back to the camp, and they have to explain their actions on how this went down. So we'll see how that shakes out next week as we go into the aftermath of this. And what looks like from the previews is the merge. So now we have a whole new dynamic that's about to hit the beach. I hope to see you there. Bye.